And I quit my job, and 3 weeks later, I was back in Mexico with absolutely no idea of what I was gonna do. Like, I was like, yeah, I was blank. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take 6 months off and figure out my next move. But I'm always very active and I'm always thinking. And I was like, okay. And then things started happening, and I was just like, I just want a job where I get to be creative. I bring my business expertise, and I can incorporate also my spiritual life. So I was like, this is the three things that I really want to have. When, however that looks like, I didn't really care. I was giving some consulting for like spiritual coaches on marketing and loyalty marketing. And people started just coming to me and being like, hey, would you plan a retreat for me? I've been doing events for like 18 years. I started when I was 15 years old, planning events and working in hospitality. So, and they didn't even know this background, right? Like when I was hired to plan the retreat for Joe Dispenza, they didn't know I planned a private concert for Craig David, or hosted events in the Giza pyramids or in the palace of the king of Saudi Arabia. They didn't have an idea, but they just like knew that I was the right person for that, right? So I was just like trusting the process and going into it. And then one day I was just sitting in a coffee shop, and I was just like dissolving actually an agency that I built. And I was like, this is what I'm going to be doing. That's it. You know, it was so clear. And I decided to dedicate and spend my life helping people run retreats that are profitable, but are also fulfilling your purpose, right? So everything comes from a place not just of business, but also your spiritual path and how you can create transformation for others.
Yeah, I know. And since we've been sort of connected, and every time we speak, your approach to retreats and what I have seen is a little bit different, because you not only combine sort of your background in marketing, strategy, but also thinking about the practicalities, as well as this being an amazing experience for the audience and fulfillment for the person hosting it. So, what drives you in this work? What actually makes you want to get up every morning?
Well, first of all, it's a space for me to be creative. I'm a very creative person. I love to do things that involve my hands, or thinking new ideas, or just being more inspirational, right? And then I decided to make my life intentional, right? To really bring intentionality into every single thing that I do. So I know that if I'm planning a retreat, I'm putting my intention that all my creativity, my energy, my effort, my love, I'm going to put it into that. And when it comes to my teachings as well, right, I put all my intention behind it. And I know that the transformation that is being created behind, it's going to ripple into the whole world, right? It's going to create an impact, because if someone comes to a retreat and they change their lives, they don't just change their lives, they change the lives of their family members, of their friends, of the people who are around them.
Yeah, I agree. It's so transformational. I mean, we've done some retreats and I've been part of a few. And it's a magical experience if someone knows what they do. So you help others create these magical experiences. Okay, so if someone is considering, because there's a lot to think about when it comes to retreats, and perhaps there's a bit of fear, like, where do I even begin? Lenny, from your experience, so today we're talking about profitable retreats. So from your experience, what are the first few things that people should be perhaps thinking if they're worried about their retreat planning? They're excited, but what are the first steps in planning?
Yes, so I believe that one of the main things that you need to consider as a first step when you're running your budget, because so many people in this world, they are so passionate about what they're doing that they forget that they're supposed to be charging, right? They forget they're supposed to be making money out of this. Because I love this quote that says, "How can you ask someone to meditate if they don't have they're thinking about what they're gonna eat next?" Right? So if you're thinking about paying your rent, how are you going to actually create a retreat that is transformational and that is actually helping other people, when you're thinking more about like, oh, I need to sell it because this is going to allow me to pay rent, or this is going to allow me to pay this extra course, or or grow my business, or feel settled for the next couple of months. It's the mindset that really triggers you into something that it won't be in your best interest, right? So you need to be making a profit, because you need to be serving people from a place of abundance, in every single way, not just scarcity, right? So, and I'm not just talking about abundance in money. I'm talking about abundance in everything that you do. You know, when you put yourself out there, you put yourself out there whole. You put yourself out there in this beautiful, beautiful space of sharing and giving, and it comes back. So you're being abundant, right? Like with food, with everything. It can be healthy. It doesn't have to be, sometimes we go, we think that there's a lot of food, there's also another kind of trigger there, right? But it's just about being abundant. And when you're being able to be abundant, and you know that if you host a retreat, you're going to be able to be more abundant, and the bank account is going to fill up, and then you can share more and you can show up more to them, because you're not thinking about like all the other things you need to be doing to fill your bank account so you can pay the rent, right? So you're not basically scattering your energy out there. So it's all about the energy of how you're showing up to one thing. So the first step is you need to think about it as a CEO. You need to pay yourself when you're doing your running your budget for your retreat, and you do need to run a budget for a retreat. Okay, I know everyone is like, oh, I know the expenses. That's it. There's so many hidden expenses that I cannot even tell you. Um, and money likes to be accountable. Energetically, money likes to be accountable. It likes to know where it's going, where it's coming from, and how is it working, right? So when you are thinking of this, you need to make sure that you're like, I'm gonna pay myself, in the sense, if I was hiring someone else to go and do the retreat for me, to give the classes, I'm going to pay myself as the facilitator, and I'm going to pay myself as the admin if I'm selling, or as the sales executive, and then making yourself accountable for this. This way, you will feel that you already making an impact, and that you're going to be reciprocated. And from there, here I move into like the second thing that is very, very important, is that you have to have a fee. Like I call it an energetic fee, but it's basically your fee, that is aligned with who you are and what you're serving. If you don't have a fee that aligns with who you are, it's probably not going to sell. If you're overcharging based on your experience, and you feel inside of you, your whole body knows, your subconscious knows that you're overcharging because you're not there yet, and you're making it because you would just want to fill up the bank account, it's not going to sell. If you're undercharging and you feel that you're putting more out there than what you're going to be getting back, it's also not going to sell. And sometimes it's just a small difference. It can be $50, $100, $200 difference with the energetic fee. Usually it doesn't tend to be like large numbers and like, oh, I'm charging $20,000 extra of what I'm supposed to be charging. It's not
Yeah.
so far-fetched, but you need to know that these fee needs to be aligned. Like every single cell in your body needs to be saying, yes, I deserve $15,000 of this retreat. Or yes, I deserve to make profit $30,000 out of this retreat. Or 20,000 or 8,000, the number that feels right for you based on the efforts, the amount of people that is coming, you know. And then from there you can take it out into the world, and it's going to sell. And I can give you an example from just my experience now, right? I was like, okay, so I have a program called How to Price and Sell Your Retreat, right? And I was like, okay, it's the one that I'm launching now in a group container. And I started selling it at the beginning on like a very low price, $4.97, because like I want to test it. I want to see how it works out in a group container, because this is what I teach in private, but never in a group container. And I was like, this is it. And like 2 weeks in, I just felt, I'm like, I charged 300 for a consultation. Like, how does this make sense energetically for me? And yes, it was selling because it's a very good deal. People were like, yes, of course I'm supposed to be in this program, because all the things that I'm going to get is like a 6-week program. But then I was like, okay, so whoever I offered in that price, I'm going to honor it because it feels right. But everyone else who comes in, it's 1,500, because there's no way this course should be less than this, because I want you to make 10 times profit on what you invest on my programs, right? So if you pay 500, you're going to make 5,000. But if you're paying 1,500, you're going to want to make 15,000. So it's good for me, but it's also good for the person who's taking this program, right? So this is all about, this is a great example for me that is very recent, and how you find the fee that's aligned and that feels right. For me now, I'm just like, This is what I'm charging. If you're the right person, you're going to come into my program. If you're not, then it's okay, right? It's fine. So it's so important for us to have this basically combination of coming from a place of abundance, right? Knowing that you're supposed to be charging your fee and being the CEO of your company, and then also finding this fee that is aligned, right? But and the third thing that I want to talk about on these three steps, because it's very very important, is once you have your budget, it's having a strategy that feels right when you're selling. If you hate Facebook, for example, right? Or if you like, or maybe don't hate, but you dislike it, you don't want to spend time there.
Mm.
You don't like social media in general. This happens a lot. Are you gonna feel comfortable selling your retreat, your program, your course? It doesn't really matter at this point if it's a retreat or not. Are you really gonna show up and be like, oh my gosh, yes, I want to spend 2 hours of my day here? You're probably inside, you're gonna be thinking, I rather be meditating. I rather be with my friends. I rather be having coffee, you know, doing anything else. So find a space where you feel comfortable, where you thrive. And this can be, for example, in like in-person networking events. If you feel more comfortable in person than behind the screen, go for it. Go to these events, meet new people, and see what comes out of there, right? If you feel more comfortable on WhatsApp, focus on WhatsApp. I can tell you, so many of my clients don't have a social media following and they sell out the retreats.
Wow.
You don't have to have a social media following to sell out retreats. You don't
I
have to
love
have an email list of hundreds of thousands of people. You don't. You just need to have the right energy, the right attitude, and then you need to. So basically, it's putting your focus, your intention, your attention, and then, and then from there, you need to put action. So you need to show
Oh,
up there.
okay, I'm gonna put this in the chat. Focus,
Intention and action.
intention, and action to sell out your retreats. Okay, I
These
want to just pause it
steps.
there for a second.
Yes.
For those of you who are watching right now, and I see quite a few people on right now, but perhaps you're feeling a little bit shy to ask questions, you don't know what to ask, this is a good time right now to ask Leni some juicy questions around your retreat challenges. Maybe there's something specific you're working on. Maybe you're curious about starting retreats. Go ahead and put it in the chat right now. All right. And I'll put these words in the chat. Carry on, Leni. Apologies.
No, of course, happy to answer any question that comes through. This is for me, it's all about giving. I'm an over giver. So if I have a call and I'm always like putting myself out there and people are like, oh, this felt like a consulting session. I'm like, yes, it did, right? So it's perfect. So yes, for something to sell needs to feel that you're doing it in a place where you're comfortable. You're also putting yourself out there as well. So you don't want to be in your comfort zone all the time. You need to be able to know that there's place for you to grow. So it's a little bit of a challenge and it doesn't become kind of boring, but it does need to feel like something that you're excited to do. If you're not excited about it,
Mm.
then who's going to be excited about it, right? Like I was in a call the other day with a client and I told her, you have to put out a retreat that you would buy from yourself.
Right. That's exactly what I said to myself and my assistant yesterday. I said, I want to design a mastermind that I want to be part of. And the fact that I haven't felt about the previous idea that I had, I was like, I wouldn't even sign up to it. So why would I do it? So I completely redesigned everything because I was like, if I don't want to sign up to it, why should others? So create something you love.
Yes, create something you love. You need to be your ideal customer in a way because at the same time, you want to bring people that are like you into your retreats or into your programs, right? This works for like everything, right? It's not only like a magic formula for a retreat, it's a magic formula for everything in life. But if you really want to do something like this, you need to make sure that you love it and you want to bring the right people into your retreat, into your program. You don't want to be dealing in with the people who are not ideal clients from you, right? if you're basically maybe selling it extremely cheap, you might find people who are going to come and make a lot of questions, like why I didn't get two pieces of fruit instead of one. It's very silly, but it happens. So it needs to be something that attracts the right people. At the same time, if you think about it, what you need to be teaching is your process that you already went through and then you achieved, right? So if you were someone who went through like family trauma, right? Like maybe not great relationships with your parents, but now you have a great relationship with your parents because you managed to go through it through your techniques, your tools.
Yeah.
This is what you're supposed to be teaching. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to be teaching um, how to run profitable businesses in a corporate world when you've never been in the corporate world,
Right.
right? You
So
teach what you know.
I just want to bring you back to focus and just make sure that our audience are welcome to ask questions. All right, and this is a good time because we only got a few more minutes, and we covered some really amazing things in how to make your retreats profitable. And Lenny, you've been doing this for such a long time, worked with so many amazing top level coaches that it blows my mind, right? I remember in our last speaker showcase, you talked about working with Joe Dispenza. I was like, I have to pick up on this. So I'm going to pick up on it in just a moment. But before we do that, I know you're a speaker at the Women Thrive Summit. So I know there's a whole session on how to make, well, what is your session, first of all, and why should people attend your session at the Women Thrive Summit?
Yes. So the title of my talk is The Art of Retreat Planning: How to Connect with Your Purpose and Make It Your Reality, right? So it's amazing because in this talk, I'm so excited about it actually, because I'm going to go through this process of how to find the purpose behind you planning a retreat, right? And because retreat planning is an art,
Mm,
and I don't want to like make it people feel it's so complicated and difficult, but it does require a lot of your attention. It does require a lot of planning. It does require you to be present and holding space for a group of beautiful people for a couple of days. It's different than if you're doing a 1 hour session with a group of people. It's a different investment energetically, right? So if you're doing it and you're thinking about running retreats or you have already done, it's a great talk for you to really reconnect with your purpose and why you're doing it. So once you decide either to start or to run your next retreat, you are already tapping back into why you decided to run retreats from the first place, or why did you decide to become a coach, or why do you do what you do, and how do you bring that into something that feels artful and creative, and like really you're putting your love behind it, right? That is not just another revenue stream for your business. It's a big piece. It's part of the heart of your business, right? So
yeah.
for me, this is something that is one of the messages that I really like to portray out there in the world, because once you put your passion and your love behind it, everything works out like magic. Honestly,
Yeah.
I can't tell you the amount of magical things that have happened in my life since I started just following my intuition and putting my heart into it and just being creative. Like, just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and here's the thing, with the retreats, you create a magical moments with your clients. If you, especially right now in the last few months, years, you've been working mainly online and have not been able to have that intimate time with your clients. I feel like that's such a beautiful kind of the next up level, and especially in the coaching business, that's the next up level. It's the next sort of the exclusive time that your potential clients or clients can have with you in a retreat. So that's going to be the art of retreat planning. Lenny is speaking at the Women Thrive Summit. Women Thrive Summit is our annual global event for women. This is our women empowerment event. We are covering topics, anything from marketing, visibility, personal branding, how to run amazing retreats and events, public speaking, and other things like mindset, confidence, financial planning, and so many other things. So do make sure you head over to womenthrivesummit.com, register for your spot, and look out for Leni's session happening between the 20th and the 24th of March. So don't forget to do that. Do it now. Head over to womenthrivesummit.com and you'll get to catch Leni's talk during the summit. This is so amazing. So let's have a look. If you have any questions, let us know right now. But Lenny, we've covered so much today, and what really stands out is this opportunity for women to do something that they truly love, something they enjoy, creating these magical things, and taking others along on a ride with them, right? So taking their clients on this journey. But I guess it really starts with them drilling down on what is the passion, why they want to do these retreats, because it's really important. It's not a short term project by no means. You can't throw a retreat within a week or two. It's a journey. So, how do you tend to help clients to kind of go from idea stage to implementation and to the whole experience of planning and running a retreat?
Yes. So yeah. So first of all, the most important part is having like your intention as a retreat leader, right? Really knowing why you're doing this, because as you said, it's not a short-term commitment. So if you're doing it, you have to be all in, right? The whole body experience. And basically what I do is I help people through the whole process of like, depending on their stage, right? So we always have like a initial talk, and I figure out where they're standing and who we are and if we are a match or not. And then based on which stage in their business they are when it comes to retreats, we make something that is tailored, right? So some people just need help when it comes to running like a profitable retreat, like something that is actually making money, because they are selling out, but they're just not making them numbers. And
Mm,
well, yes, it's amazing if you can say I sold out retreats, but is it really great if you don't make a profit out of it? You might as well sell less retreat and not, spots and not sell out, but make a profit, than sell
yeah.
out and not make a profit, right?
It's your time and energy that also costs, which a lot of entrepreneurs, especially spiritual and wellness entrepreneurs, don't consider their time as valuable part of planning and preparing and running the
Yes.
retreat.
Yeah, there is kind of this statement that because you're a spiritual person, you're not supposed to be charging. You're not supposed to be making money. It's kind of like a little bit of like a martyr persona. And we are in this world to, this is a world that's abundant, right? Just from the trees out there, if you go to a garden or to a park, we're surrounded by abundance. We all deserve to be abundant and to have money. And I'm not saying scheme it out from someone else, do it the right way. There is 7.8 billion people in the world. There is someone out there for you to go to your
Yeah,
retreat.
and they need your help. And I see money as a resource for you to do big and greater things, for you to afford beautiful retreats, to plan for these people that you want to serve. So it's a resource and it's a tool. And actually, if people want the transformation and the support, it is also commitment from them. And I think that's where money comes in as an energetic exchange in your time and value and their commitment to their transformation as well.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And yes, we have been trained in like the Occidental world that based on how much money you pay is the value that you get behind it, right? And sometimes you can find something extremely cheap and the value it's insanely crazy. But because we have this kind of programming, right? At the same time, it's important for everyone else to know that if they pay, it's because they're getting this transformation. And it's going to give them so much more in return. Like they're going to make it so many times better. Imagine if someone comes to your retreat and they managed to leave a relationship where they were being abused. They probably saved their lives by making this decision. It's a
Yeah.
possibility. They're probably going to be living many, many more years than they thought of. Or they're going to save a lot of money on medical bills, at least, right? Like someone will make a life changing decision
Mm.
if you're doing your retreats right. They're going to transform their life. I helped one of my amazing clients, Kat, run a retreat on last spring for the spring equinox. And it was absolutely beautiful. And she works with the energy of death, right? So she's her whole thing is dying to feel alive. So you learn how every time you're having a mini death, we're dying all the time. Every single moment we're dying because we have less hours in this world, right? So it's a beautiful experience. It was so deep. We had to write our own eulogies, right? But there was someone there that had a massive fear of choking. Like she wouldn't like lay down completely on a bed. She wouldn't eat certain foods because she feared she would choke. It was a real fear. When she came out of that, her anxiety was so much lower after 5 days.
Yeah.
Her face, I remember I took a picture of her when she started. I took a picture of her on one of the days of deepest transformation with her husband, and I told her, I'm going to take a picture of you when you're leaving so you can see the difference. Oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Her face was lit up completely different, from a face of like very stiff kind of like facial features to a face where she was very puffy and just crying, and just like a face of like, I don't know what's gonna happen next, to a face of like relief, of peace, of just like, oh, I'm good. You know, this is what that's what you're thriving for. And
Yeah,
that's
that huge transformation for your clients. So, Leni, I know we're just about to run out of time on this live today. I want to make sure that people know how to get in touch with you. How would people follow up with you if they wanted to consider running a retreat and just wanted to ask you some questions about that?
Well, I think the best way is to actually book a free call with me. It's freecall.lenicavazos.com. Super simple. I can write it here. Uh, and yeah, you book a call and we get a chat. For me, it's all about connection. It's about creating connection, getting to know new people. There's never any strings attached. So I think if people want to talk to me, then I'd rather just get them on, on a live session and just actually have a conversation and go through endless messages, and see if one day fits or not. So yeah, I think this is the best way to reach out to me.
Fantastic. So,
Yeah.
if you want to get in touch with Leni, if today's conversation has inspired you, perhaps you have some questions about running your own retreat or planning your own profitable retreat, go ahead to freecall.lenicavazos.com, register for your free call with her. And also, don't forget to join us at the Women Thrive Summit. So, Women Thrive Summit is happening in March. I know it's still a little bit way to go, but this is what you get to experience: amazing journey alongside other women from all around the world who are running their own businesses, who have been successful and they already what they are doing today, but they want to be part of something a little bit bigger. So this is our annual Women Empowerment event, which you get to be part of. We have some free tickets. We've got some paid tickets if you want to upgrade your experience. So head over to womenthrivesummit.com, register for your spot. And Leni is one of our speakers on the summit who will be talking about how to create your own amazing experience using retreats. And I think that's the one that you don't want to miss if that's where you are in your business right now. Leni, this has been amazing talking to you today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very exciting to be here. Hope to see you
It's,
all in the Women Thrive Summit.
yes, me too. I'm looking forward to meeting everyone there and having you as part of this summit. It's been a pleasure for all of you watching. If you have enjoyed this conversation, make sure you share it with somebody else and leave a comment. Let us know where you watched this from. So we look forward to seeing you again on another live. Take care for now.